Alright boys, in this video we're going to be talking about how to lose more than 20 pounds of fat without counting calories. Now this is something I did, and I don't even think it's something which was very difficult, because I lost 20 pounds of fat in about 2021 from January to November. But in June of 2019 through to January of 2020, I lost about 30 pounds of fat. I went from 190 to around 161.6, something like that, basically around 30 pounds of fat. And when I lost weight that time, I was counting calories, I was measuring food, I was very strict with my intermittent fasting, my eating window. But when I lost 20 pounds of fat, it was very, I won't say easy, but it was very smooth. It was very smooth. I didn't feel like I was restricting myself. In fact, I feel like I was living the lifestyle and having the diet which I always knew I should have had. So just doing that in itself, my self-concept, the way I saw myself, was in a better light than compared to before. And so the problem was, and the problem for a lot of you watching this video, is you need to lose weight and you actually want to get better and improve yourself, but you probably you can't be bothered with weighing your food and just generally just being a freak about food. So what I did, and what I did and devised, was I basically found out how much food I needed to eat in order for me to maintain my weight. Now, I said I lost weight before. This was a very it came in clutch. It came in very useful, because I knew how much I was eating, how much I needed to eat, just roughly, because I was eating my mom's food. So my mom would give me some food, and more or less it was the same food that I had always eaten. What I realized was, when I like steered away from just eating at meal times, that would make me gain weight. So say for example, my mom would give me a dish at 2 or 3 or whatever. I would eat that, and then at 5 or 6 o'clock I would have something again. Then I would eat again at night. After that, maybe at 10, 11 o'clock at night, I would eat something again. And basically because of that, I would build up a negative momentum of doing things which I shouldn't have been doing. And before you know it, I'll be honest, before you know it, you're just overweight and you're fat. So what I did was, I did a little bit of an experiment. I ate what I was just generally eating. I was exercising like normal. Wasn't really going out of my way to exercise. And then I basically measured how much I weighed. And with that, what happens is, and what you can do is, you could basically do the same thing. You can basically eat whatever you're eating, exercise however much you're exercising, and weigh yourself every single day. And roughly just know if you're gaining weight, if you're maintaining weight, or if you're losing weight. If you're gaining weight, then you're probably eating a bit too much, or you're not exercising enough. If you're losing weight, then you're along the right terms. But ideally, in this like 5 to 7 days, however long you try it, ideally I recommend 7 days. But these 7 days, you want to maintain your weight. So if you weigh like 80 kilograms, you want to weigh 80 kilograms at the end of the 7 days, because this will have you in a very good spot for you to lose the weight. Because all you need to do is start hitting the weights, have more water, eat a little bit more cleaner, do a bit more cardio, and you will start losing weight very quickly, very quickly. But on the other hand, if you're gaining weight, but say you only gain weight after the 6th or 7th day, then you've probably just eaten a bad meal. You probably had some kind of takeaway. You probably ate something which you shouldn't have been eating, something quite high in sodium, in sugar, in salt, which is making you retain a couple of pounds. If you're losing weight, then what I assume is you started exercising, or you've been drinking more water, or in general, you've just been more healthy. That's what I'm assuming that you would have done. But as long as you have this benchmark, and you're like, you know what, as long as I eat these 5 meals, 7 meals, whatever it is, I'm fine. As long as you're at that what do I call it, that mark, that benchmark, then that will keep you in very good stead going forward and trying to lose weight. Because your diet and knowing how much you're eating is, I would say, about 80% of fat loss. Because a lot of people, they're like, you know what, I want to lose weight, but they don't really know what they should cut out, especially if you're a brown guy as well. Because brown guy, like when your mom will hand you a dish, you don't know how many like calories are in that dish. The only way you would know is if you did this experiment of weighing yourself every day and kind of monitoring any weight changes. So but as long as you know how much food you need to eat to gain, to lose, to maintain your weight, you're absolutely spot on. Now, what you can do going forward is you can start doing more cardio I don't mean, going for a jog every single day or running miles and miles. All you need to do is basically walk about 150 minutes a day. I'm sorry, a week. And 150 minutes of cardio a week is equivalent to about 21 minutes a day. Now, if you're someone who's got a walking pad, actually my walking pad's not in my room, it's downstairs. But if you could invest in a walking pad, you can go outside and walk if it's not very, cold and rainy around you. Or if you go to a gym, you can walk on a treadmill on a slight incline and do zone 2 cardio every single day. And it wouldn't be strenuous. It would have you losing fat. It would increase your heart health. Alongside that, I would recommend doing some kind of high intensity cardio as well, like sprinting, like playing a sport, like the assault air bikes, which are absolutely horrible to do. But I would also recommend doing something high intensity simply for the hormones. And you always want to do something hard every now and again, just to simply keep that edge about you, to make sure you don't go soft. And it's very good for the hormones as well, especially for testosterone and growth hormone. It just keeps you, I don't know what the word is, but it's just a mental thing. You want to do something dangerous every now and again. So do something like that. But if you're someone, you just want to get started and you want a rough plan on what you could do, you could basically walk on a treadmill on a slight incline for 20 minutes, and it's zone 2 cardio. So zone 2 is like a heart rate zone for your heart. And the easiest way to describe it without actually overcomplicating anything is you can basically hold a conversation with someone and you can have it's a little bit difficult. It's basically fast walking. That's zone 2 cardio. As long as you do that every single day and you know how much food you need to be eating. So whatever you're eating right now, you're maintaining your weight. But when you do your cardio, you'll start losing weight. When you start hitting the weights properly, like you start training the aesthetic muscles, you pair that with the cardio and you pair that with, a slight calorie restriction within like 6-12 weeks, you will be absolutely transformed. Like your body will look so different. Your face will look very, very different. Your hormones will look better. You just feel a lot better about yourself. And when it comes to training, and lifting weights and just hitting the gym in general, you want to train the aesthetic muscles. Now, you might think to yourself, what are the aesthetic muscles? Should I not just train everything? You should train everything. You don't want to neglect anything, because that will lead to muscular imbalances. I remember when I started training, well, it was like a year into when I started training, but I had no routine, right? I would just go to my garage at home and I would just do random exercises. But the two things I wasn't training were my legs, and I wasn't training my abs. And because of that, I had really bad lower back pain. And I had it for a while, right? I couldn't even walk properly. I couldn't even play sports. But I found this video on YouTube. It was one of the videos with like really low views. And it actually gave me the answer to the problem. The answer was I wasn't training my glutes properly or whatsoever. And I wasn't training my abs, which is a bit weird, because if you want an aesthetic body and you want a six-pack, you will train your abs. But yeah, it was one of the things I neglected. So when I'm talking about aesthetic muscles, you want to train the neck and the traps. You want to train the upper chest. You want to train the side delts. You want to train the biceps and the abs. But the abs is a lower body fat percentage thing, like a sub 15%, 12% body fat. The abs begin to come in. But you want to focus on the muscles, which I said specifically. But you still want to train. For example, I didn't mention the front delts. I didn't mention the rear delts. I didn't mention the triceps. I didn't mention any other things. I don't know if I said upper lats. Focus on the upper lats too. Will give you that wide V taper. But you want to focus on them, and on everything else too. But mostly focus on these, because I remember when I was doing like random routines, I would do like a bro split. I would do 5x5. I would do like some other kind of routine, and what that did and the kind of physique that gave me was like a blocky, wide physique, like a physique which wasn't really aesthetic. Like I would take my top off and I would still look soft and fat and pudgy. Does that make sense? You don't really want that, especially because, especially in my instance, because I've been training since like I was in year 9, which was like when I was 13, right? And I've been training for 7 or 8 years, and I just didn't look like I had been training. Does that make sense? So it was something which was very, demoralizing. Like I would never think to quit the gym, but it's like, when am I gonna see results of my training? I was strong, don't get me wrong, I was strong, I could lift, I could move heavy weight, but I just wasn't looking good. So yeah, make sure you focus on the muscles. And when I started focusing on the muscles, I basically became aesthetic. The right muscles started to basically pop, and it just makes you look more aesthetic, more masculine, and it makes you feel like you're not wasting your time. Because I remember I could flat bench, like it was 100 kilograms, and I thought, you know what, okay, 100 kilograms, that's crazy. But I'll look at my chest and it was just a soft chest, soft, like puffy nipples. It just was not a good look. But when I started focusing on, say, for example, the upper chest, the general chest just started looking better simply because the right muscle was more developed. Don't get me wrong, I still hit like muscles which target the middle and the lower chest. Like I do dips, I do flies, I do I do inclines, and I would do push-ups as well at home. But just focusing on the aesthetic muscles, it made a massive difference. So make sure you do that. As long as you do them things, like you know how much food you need to eat to maintain your weight without any exercise or without any strenuous exercise. You do 150 minutes of cardio every single week. You target the right muscles. You do like 10 to 20 sets per body part per week. And as long as you're getting in the right amount of protein, which is around 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh like 200 pounds, you want to aim for around 200 grams of protein, ideally. As long as you do them things, you will look absolutely aesthetic. You probably, even if you've got a lot of fat to lose, you will definitely lose more than 20 pounds of fat as long as you do them things. And if you're more interested in on how to lose weight, you have any questions you want to ask, or you just want a training routine, you want to know how you can get started, you want to learn more about nutrition, diet, anything in regards to diet, health and fitness, especially for brown guys, then consider joining my free school community. The link will be in the description below the first one. Click on that. Thank you.